1. Now we're good. All right, there we go. What's going on, Gator Nation? I think we're good now. It's Logan. It's EJ. Welcome back to SwampCast. EJ's in the airport flying back to California, so he can't be on it for too long. So I'm just gonna let him take the reins here. EJ, Billy Napier's officially fired as the head coach of the Florida Gators. It's a long time coming. It's finally here after the performance of the Mississippi State game. How are we feeling?
Man, I know we won, but we were all thinking this game is a microcosm of the Billy Napier tenure, and it's a fireable offense. The fact that we almost lost that game the exact same way that the USF game played out. Um, Hindsight 2020, it looks like this was true. You and I talked about it. We were, uh-oh, can you hear that in the background?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay, great. So you and I talked about before this game whether or not they would go through with the firing because of all the rumors. And I'm happy that they actually did. We're happy they actually followed through for a change. Um, it was time. It was time. Just and we were thinking about it because we've seen all the sort of the reactions and everything. I know everyone wants to get into who's the replacement, but here's the thing. Billy Napier was there's three things that you need in a coach. You need somebody who's going to build a good culture. That's number one. Somebody who's going to recruit talent. And then somebody that is going to be a great fundamentals coach. All right. So Billy Napier, I think, probably has an A on the culture. We'd probably give him, I'd probably give him a B plus on talent. But coaching, in-game coaching, is what did him in. And that was definitely around a D. And here's the crazy thing about it. When you think about this next replacement, how good of a grade are they going to be in all three of those areas? Culture, talent, and in-game coaching. With Dan Mullen, he was sort of like a B on culture. For in-game coaching, I'd give him an A. But for talent, building a roster that can stand up to some of these teams, it was a C plus. And his very last season, when he was at Florida, the 2020, well, the season before his last season, the 2020 season, Kyle Trask, Kadarius Toney, Kyle Pitts, all those guys were Jim McElwain recruits, if people don't remember that. So the 2021 season, when it was all Dan Mullen guys, his team fell apart. He put all his eggs in Emory Jones' basket. He was terrible. So I say all that to say, we've got to evaluate the next coach on those three dimensions. Can they build great talent, recruit well? Can they in-game coaching? And can they build a great culture? And there's only a few guys out there that have done all three of those things. Billy Napier was probably the worst in-game coach we've ever had. So it was about time.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, EJ. And you can't let this continue. I'm just going to read out some stats here, and I want to hear your opinion. I know you got to go soon. Billy Napier's, I believe, 22-23 all-time record at Florida, which is obviously under 500, which is unbelievable. 3-12 against rivals. 11-16 versus the SEC, and 15-22 against Power 4 teams. 6 losses to unranked teams, and 2 losing seasons officially, not counting this one. And 5-16 away from home, 4-16 against top 25 teams. So just not pretty at all. You can't have that. And I think if you allow a guy to have another year and give him time and let him build after 4 seasons, all you're going to do is be hurting the culture of the program that is the University of Florida. And you can't have that at all. And so this was something that needed to be done. And I agree. I think you have to look at those 3 dimensions. what we're going to be doing a little bit later on this week on Tuesday is we're going to do a full coaching breakdown on who our picks are, why we want these guys, you know what I mean? Even like honorable mentions if we can't get the first few. And we're going to dive into all that. So, keep an eye out for that. Once again, this Tuesday, we're going to dive deep into all that. But EJ, anything you want to say just on anything else before you get out of here?
You know, um, it's really tough nowadays in college football, really in sports in general. And so everyone knows, social media doesn't really help because, and look at what we're doing. um, back in the 90s and early 2000s, you didn't have social media. So you didn't have the voice of the fan base at your fingertips. And nowadays, you got to win, or those fans are going to have very loud voices. And Billy, I think, was supported. He got significantly more investment in the program than any coach prior to him. And he just did not win enough games. And that is the ultimate goal of a coach.
How do you feel about Billy Gonzalez being the interim?
So, I would have preferred Jaluk, the running backs coach, because that's literally the only position that seems to be really, really good every year. We lost Trevor Etienne, and they bring out this guy named Jaden Baugh, who no one's ever heard of, and I think he's probably the best running back in the SEC at this point. Um, and Jaluk is the only guy that shows some fight out there. Literally.
Yeah.
Literally. Right. He literally shows some fight out there. But because of the suspension, they probably politically said, we can't give it to him. So we got to give it to another guy named Billy. And so they gave it to Billy Gonzalez. Jaluk is also the associate head coach in technicality. So he should, in theory, be the next guy. But I think the suspension, they're just like, okay, well, we can't have you. So we're going to go to Gonzalez. Interesting to see how Russ Callaway calls plays. I'm not sure he's going to do a fake rollout with a one-legged quarterback on 3rd and 1 in a must-convert situation.
When your running back's averaging 7.5 yards a carry.
Yeah, when your running backs got a career day, 7.5 yards a carry, and it takes 3 Mississippi State players to bring him down. And you're going to run a fake bootleg, literally a bootleg, because our quarterback's in a boot. Okay, and he's got one leg, so it's literally a bootleg that they ran, and he got sacked for 7 yards. So that is Billy Napier, and it took Ron Roberts, defensive coordinator, to say, you know what, zone blitz, vacate the D tackles in a hover down zone, and that's what won us the damn game. So hey, Billy Napier goes out a winner. I think he won 4 straight SEC games at home to end his tenure. The USF loss squeezed in there. There you go.
There you go. All right, well, I think that's all we're going to be covering here. EJ's got to catch a flight back to San Diego, California. We appreciate you guys watching, though, man. Wild, wild story. It's finally happening, and I'm very, very excited to see Russ in this offense, see how it looks different, and see Billy Gonzalez bringing, hopefully, some winning culture back for the rest of the season. So we appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you Tuesday.
Yes.